When Satan got to the man and the woman to sin, then God handed down the curses. His curse and his promise was that one day, when he hands down the curse, he has the promise. And the promise is that one day, one from the seed of the woman, a man that would come many, many generations later, would crush Satan's head, the snake. When Jesus went to the cross, that's what happened. He crushed his head. When Jesus went to the cross, he went to war against Satan, and he crushed all the sin and the death and the darkness that he had wrought upon the human race for years, for hundreds of years. When Jesus went to the cross, he went to die for all of it so that men and women might be forgiven and they might be freed from that darkness, from their own sins and the sins that have been done unto them. When Jesus died, he defeated Satan and he was victorious. You've got to know that. Here's how the Bible says it in Colossians chapter 2. You who were dead in your trespasses, God made alive, having forgiven us all our trespasses by canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross. He disarmed the rulers and authorities and put them to open shame by triumphing over them in him. So Satan and his demons, they're the cosmic rulers and authorities. And Jesus nailed it to the cross, put them to open shame. He triumphed over them. Because of that, since that point, Satan, he is just a pitiful little defeated fool. There is no reason to fear him, for his doom is sure. Here's the final scene of Satan from the last book of the Bible, book of Revelation. Here's what John wrote, who saw this in the vision of the future that God gave him and asked him to put in the Bible for us. From Revelation 20, verses 8 through 10. Satan came out to deceive the nations, to gather them for battle, but fire came down from heaven and consumed them. And the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur where the beast and the false prophet were, and they were tormented day and night forever and ever. This is Satan and his demons' future. God has promised. Between now and then, we live in this time, between the time. The war's already been won on the cross. So that's already happened. But now what's going on is we're fighting for territory. Territory in our own hearts and lives, and territory with where other people haven't heard the good news of what Jesus did on the cross and how he defeated Satan. Ephesians 6:12 tells us that we're fighting against spiritual forces of evil. But we're not fighting to win the war. The war has already been won. We're just fighting for territory in our own hearts and in other people's lives. Because Jesus came, and because Jesus defeated the devil, there is no longer anything to fear. 1 John 4:8 says, God's perfect love, it casts out fear. It drives it out. What you and I need for our fears, those things that we get afraid of, is to know God's perfect love given to us in his perfect Son. When we have that love abiding in us, there's simply no room for Satan and his fears. There's no room for it. Because if God did that for us, there's nothing he won't do for us. He will continue to love us and to care for us. Jesus won, and Jesus wins.